Italians of Reddit. How do you feel about the way other countries are currently handling the pandemic? Why did it take so much for you to close down? I was terrified to see stadiums full of people for Champions League. Guys, we have the army that needs to move bodies from Bergamo to other cities because the crematorium can't run fast enough. There is a town that in previous years averaged 35 deaths from January to March. This year they registered 158 deaths. And only 31 of those are officially by COVID. There's shortage of coffins and of funeral directors because they are getting sick as well. This is fucking serious. So, it is true many deaths are not being officially attributed to COVID-19. Wow. It is much worse. I mean, you'll also have some deaths where people didn't die of COVID-19 but died from lack of care/ICU beds etc. due to the pandemic. I don't know what the numbers should be, and it does sound suspicious, but it wouldn't be surprising that some of the high numbers are due to otherwise preventable deaths that aren't from COVID-19. I live in the US, and in my city they've already said to expect delays with 911 and emergency rooms because of coronavirus, which presumably means we're going to have more deaths from heart attacks, strokes, car accidents, etc. Because with those deaths, often the most critical issue is getting treatment to the afflicted quickly. And now the treatment won't be coming as quickly because those resources are being diverted to coronavirus treatment. I live close by Bergamo. Everyone believes, as far as I know, that most countries reacted slow and did the same mistakes we did. If everyone would have just taken this seriously, many lives would have been and would be saved in the future. However, governments chose to keep the countries open as long as possible to not have more severe economical repercussions. At this stage most Italians are really focused themselves, except the brief mention of cases in other countries in the mainstream media. Stay home. Stay safe. The only countries that did well were the ones who experienced the SARS epidemic. Hong Kong, Singapore, South Korea. They introduced rapid and widespread testing and tested everyone entering their country. Italian here. I'd say that generally the news report that other countries are following our example by adopting those measures we implemented in the first place. So we are somewhat glad that other countries are doing their job. However, given the situation, we are frustrated when we see that despite those measures people are still going outside and panic buying and the like. We especially feel sorry for the next hit country in Europe, Spain. Stay strong lads. Some people here have started to have anti-EU sentiments after some problems we had with the ECB, and we try to stay positive by thinking that, given that we were one of the first countries to get the disease, we might be among the first to recover and have a head start when it comes to production and exports. And we hope that we have a head start on the economy as a whole. Japan here. Japan for a week or so believed itself almost immune to COVID-19. There were multiple things on Twitter blowing up about how people were saying that because the Japanese were hygienic and washed their hands/wore masks regularly the virus hadn't spread rapidly. However, a lot of other people believed that they were actually artificially keeping the numbers low because they wanted the Olympics to go ahead. There were reports of a lot of people being turned away for testing. In the last few days Tokyo's numbers have doubled and are speeding up at an alarming pace. Japan has like no time to react, and today Prime Minister Abe came out saying a lockdown would be bad for the economy. So, we learned nothing. In Italy we decided to do whatever it takes to stop the infection regardless of the economical repercussions, even though we initially underestimated what would have been sufficient to stop it. I can't understand how some countries ever considered that they could do nothing. That would have caused huge amounts of deaths just for almost nothing. I'm glad everyone came to reason, but they wasted precious time and people have died because of that. Yeah. No. Brazil is still treating it as just another flu last time I checked. Italian here. Most countries wasted the time advantage they had. They could have locked down sooner and better, and they could have arranged more ICUs in their hospitals. They have been waiting for the wave to reach the shore and then started running, and USA is still staring the horizon. I'm an Italian that lives in Norway. I have family in Milan. I was following Italian news outlets as this was starting. It was incredibly stressful seeing this gradually ramp up while Norway was doing nothing. There was this strong mentality of this is not our problem as it began to spread here. Finally Norway went into lockdown 12th of March. I have Norwegian friends that live in England who are experiencing that same fear I initially had of why isn't our government doing anything. There seems to be this constant lag caused by world leaders not truly understanding the magnitude of this or just not wanting to risk their economy. Edit. The meme ripped your grandma, but I'm different is now real life. If you have any stories, please share them in the comments section below. I'm Italian as well. Here's the thing, it's hard to grasp for people the numbers you see, the number of positive cases, and especially the deaths. They are not from the whole country of 60 millions, but they are mostly from an area that at the most comprises of 10 million people. Put that in perspective if you can. The reason why our numbers are not ridiculously large, meaning widespread around the country and not just somewhat circumscribed, is because we locked everything down as soon as we got an idea of what was really happening. And yes, we made mistakes. But in many ways we feel we are ground zero for a Western country, as many mentioned. In Europe the methods used by South Korea would be illegal. We thought we'd be leaders and be able to teach a grand lesson. And then we see country after country falling in the O. This is serious. Impasse. They said we got out of control because our health system is not good. It is actually pretty great. They said it got out of control because our population is older, sure, but much older than the rest of Europe. They didn't trust our experience. It drives me berserk to see the military trucks hauling away corpses out of Bergamo and people in Florida saying that since they waited 2 months for spring break they are not going to give it up. Nobody is fucking singing out of their balconies in Bergamo. It is insane that the leadership in the US has downplayed this threat so recklessly, even after having all the data in hand. Now we are giving this virus a chance to mutate and be even more aggressive. Fuck you for not listening. It is insane that the leadership in the US has downplayed this threat so recklessly. And today the USA is the country with the most cases in the world. It's probably too late for them. It will probably go in the several 100,000 cases. Maybe above million if they don't shape up fast. Source https://gisandata.maps.arcgis.com/apps/ops-board/index.html/bda 7,594,740 ft 40,299,423,467 b408090 cf6. American here, and I 100% agree with you. It is probably too late. Our healthcare workers don't have enough protective gear to protect themselves from people with the virus. We don't have enough ventilators, and some states are now basically picking the people who are most likely to live and treating them / putting them on ventilators and just giving the other people who they think will probably die a reconfortaro. We were not prepared and are probably now completely screwed. Italian here. Nothing more to add. Just this. Stay home if you can. And stay safe. Hi there. Answering from northern Italy, the worst affected area of the country. I'm glad that other countries in Europe are finally enforcing lockdowns and work bans. But it came too late. Poland did a good job. They shut everything straight away. Other countries like the UK and France kinda laughed at us and shrugged it off. Bojo claimed that they would seek herd immunity because Europe is doing so he must do the opposite. Thankfully for the people, he changed course of actions. And Macron initially said we will not give up our partisan order. So, if they only listened to our media and politicians, they could have avoided such high numbers. We underestimated the virus because China wasn't being completely honest about that. But we straight up reported the numbers of cases and fatalities and the situation in the hospitals. It should have been a wake-up call for them. And now we are all on the same boat. I hope the US healthcare system is ready for what is to come. Because the initial lack of response from the authorities will cost them. And the people at the bottom will pay the price. Here in northern Italy, some areas, Bergamo City, for example, have already passed the yearly rate of deaths in less than 1 month. Young people without pre-existing conditions are falling as well. Everybody stay home. Stay safe. Edit. Forgot about Brazil. I hope someone gets Bolsonaro to shut up, because the effects of his behavior will be devastating. Edit 2. Thank you for the awards. Kind Redditors. Buddy, please make videos and ask your friends to make more videos about what is happening there. Unfortunately, my friends in Brazil are trusting the president saying that all is a media hoax and heeding the Bolsonaro orders to go back to their daily lives. Unlike Italy, Brazil health infrastructure is terrible. We might see hundreds of thousands of Brazilians dying. God have mercy on their souls. Stay strong. I'm Brazilian and I'm fucking pissed with what Jair Bolsonaro, current president, said. That MF said that coronavirus is just another flu and that we shall continue our normal lives. I'm so fucking lucky I moved to Canada before this happened. But I'm worried ASF for my friends and family that are out there partying and not knowing what's creeping behind the corner just waiting to get inside of you. Sadly, many Brazilians over there are trusting him. IKR. Like what the fuck, it's out country getting fucked by some even more fucked dude and PPL are just sitting there and cheering him. People were fucked by the previous political party so much they ended up trusting another asshole. Hey from Brazil. We are boned. Italian here but living in Taiwan. All the countries have waited too much before to start reacting. Measures are implemented to avoid the already high rate of infection in the country. The problem have already spread pretty big when are putted in action measures that are reasonably very strict. Looking from here, all of this look kind of unbelievable. The Taiwanese government have taken a very proactive stance and started in January to screen incoming travelers, severe quarantine for all the suspected cases, and tracking all the possible connection and quarantining them. There have been 252 cases, and mostly from people coming back in the country. The life hasn't changed much. You can go anywhere but your temperature will probably be checked, and there will be hand sanitizer for you to use. Live in Korea where things exploded before Italy. Wasn't surprised that Europe learned nothing from us, but it seems that other European countries learned nothing whatsoever from Italy and made all of the same mistakes. I mean, how stupid do you have to be to see it exploding in Italy a few weeks back and not even screen people flying in from Italy? Italian here. I feel sad. Our government should have done more and before, and this has cost lives. Now your governments aren't doing enough. And they are doing it too late. You have wasted a few precious weeks, and that will spell disaster, especially in the US, where healthcare is not so readily available to everyone. Also, your polarization has managed to transform this into a political issue, and this will cost even more lives, but more freedom. So, in good part, it's up to the people to be proactive. There isn't much you can do as an individual if there are hundreds of other idiots mingling. But at least try and minimize contacts. It's the time to leave herd mentality. Don't be ashamed wearing face masks if nobody else does. For example, you don't have proper face masks? Make them yourself in cloth. It's not as effective, but any reduction in probability helps. Wear glasses or sunglasses. Don't have hand cleaner? Alcohol helps. Fuck. Even washing hand help. I love the irony of what is happening in Brazil. Their idiot-in-chief, Bolsonaro, invites people to go out. Thugs and gangsters are in the streets warning people to stay at home. Stay safe, people, and brace yourselves. Thugs in Brazil warning people to stay home. Where did you read this? Sounds like pretty awesome though. Here https://www.theguardian.com/world/2020/mar/25/Brazil Rio gangs coronavirus. When the gangsters have more common sense and compassion than the stupid president. I think most countries have been handling it poorly. People like to blame China because they need someone to blame. But it isn't like we had no warnings and this came unexpected. As soon as Wuhan was put on complete lockdown, everyone should have been alarmed, and countries should have stopped flights to and from China immediately as well as start testing people. Some Asian countries like South Korea did a great job. But most countries just did not care until it started hitting Italy and Europe heavily. That was over a month time to prepare. It was also just after Italy put the country on complete lockdown that other countries slowly followed the example. Many with less strict rules than Italy. Those countries that waited longest to react and spend their money rather on military than healthcare will have to suffer the most. As soon as Wuhan was put on complete lockdown, everyone should have been alarmed, and countries should have stopped flights to and from China immediately, as well as start testing people. South Korea did this. They have seen it before and knew what was possibly coming their way. Most other countries did not. They've seen such outbreaks in other countries, and they peter out when they travel west. There was little to suggest this was different. Also consider the general resistance to isolation in every country at the start. People ignore it, bend the rules, etc. That is when we have seen how bad this is getting. So how successful do you think it would be when everyone thinks they are safe? If it happens again in a few years, then people will be more willing to cooperate. This year there would be no chance, even if the government had reacted faster. I live in Belgium, and what strikes me the most is how our local corona strategy is entirely based on reaction rather than prevention. I happened to travel to Milan on the fateful weekend of February 22nd to 23rd to see my family. I got a temperature check after landing in MXP. No checks when I landed back in Belgium. Went through a lot of trouble at work because the government guidelines still stated that even if traveling back from an affected area, including China and Italy, we should go back to our daily lives and only stay home after if we develop symptoms. I ended up self-isolating for the sake of my colleagues and their families. Half of them thought I was overreacting. Guidelines have changed since then, of course, but it baffles me how the baseline is always the same. No need for stricter lockdown until our hospitals are on the verge of collapse. I'm not very attached at all to my passport country, but I've been following Italian guidelines since the very beginning because it just feels irresponsible to be doing anything else. Thanks for watching the video. Please like and subscribe for more content.